Well, don't you know what we're going to be looking at today? The text?
Pentecost?
Yeah, it's you good guess. The fire's a good indicator, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are going to be looking at the Pentecost text today. And talking about something that's sometimes a little hard to put a finger on. I tell you what, you have been lighting a lot of candles in this past year, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
And you have been doing a lot of leading in church. Yeah. She nods her head. It's a bit of an understatement. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Why on earth are you doing church stuff?
That's a good question.
You know what? It's a hard question.
It's a hard question.
It's not one that you can just go, oh yes, exactly. I know exactly why. You know, I tell you what, there are some people in today's, what we're going to be looking at, this Pentecost reading from Acts chapter 2, that are also going and asking questions. They're wondering, what does all of this mean? I tell you what, we'll come back to this question. But for now, let's start with Acts chapter 2. And let's just read the first several verses.
Sounds good. You can tell me when to stop.
Yep, we'll stop at 4.
When the day of Pentecost came, they were all together in one place. Suddenly, a sound like the blowing of a violent wind came from heaven and filled the whole house where they were sitting. They saw what seemed to be tongues of fire that separated and came to rest on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other tongues as the Spirit enabled them.
Ooh. Okay, so there's something we don't hear about every day. There is some disciples, and they're sitting around. They're sitting around because they've been told by Jesus when he went up, when he ascended, go and wait in Jerusalem. And so they're waiting in Jerusalem. They're waiting in Jerusalem. They've got a promise that the advocate, that the Holy Spirit will be poured out on them. And, I wonder I don't think they knew what to expect.
I don't think they did.
Even if they did know what to expect, do you think they would have expected rushing wind and fire appearing on them?
Probably not. That's not what I would expect.
Let alone speaking in different languages. It goes on. It goes on, and it talks about how there's people. They're wondering how are we understanding these backwoods Galileans? And there's people in Jerusalem from all over the world, and it goes on for like 9 verses, naming all the different places that people are from. And then people are asking, what does all of this mean? They're hearing them talk about Jesus. And they're wondering, what does this mean? And there are some people that go, oh, they're just drunk on new wine. But people are asking questions of them. So I'm going to ask you maybe a slightly different way question. What do you think kick-started you on doing churchy type things again?
I would say one of the things would have to be confirmation.
Confirmation? What did it do for you?
Helped me to get re-excited. I don't know if that's a word, but...
Re-excited? Yeah. If it's not a word, it should be, and now it is. So.
About church and the things that happen here. The different ministries. And then also the different opportunities I had to lead.
Yeah, seriously. You were invited, weren't you? Yeah. But did that happen just on its own? No. There was something else involved, or someone else involved too, wasn't there? Kind of like what happened here. The Holy Spirit was poured out on the disciples. The Holy Spirit gets poured out on other people too, doesn't she?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. something that just gives us a little nudge, something that maybe excites us, something that tells us, hey, you're not alone, and pushes us to do some new things in new ways. Maybe to stand up and lead in front, but not necessarily, right?
In other ways too.
It does. Yeah. I tell you what. Why don't you read verse 17? Because Peter is, the Holy Spirit's poured out, and they're standing talking, and people are wondering, are these people drunk? And Peter says, well, no. This is what's happening. This is what's happening, and the Holy Spirit helps them. So what does Peter start out saying?
No, this is what was spoken by the prophet Joel. In the last days, God said, I will pour out my Spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams.
And it keeps going on that the Holy Spirit is even going to be poured out on servants and slaves, and they'll prophesy. They'll tell the truth and call the people back, and I'll show portents, and there's all sorts of things about all the things that are going to happen. Things that are happening and have happened and will happen. All saying that all who call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. There's some good news being spoken.
Yes, there is.
Isn't there? You know, I wonder where the Holy Spirit is being poured out today. Maybe for you, it sounds like confirmation was a place that happened. I have some friends who really, really experience the Holy Spirit being poured out when they're out in nature. But the Holy Spirit doesn't just give us little nudges and pushes, just so that we do stuff in church.
No, it doesn't.
No. There's
out in the world.
Yeah. Being called out into the world to act, right?
And not just with our words, but with our actions.
With their actions. And maybe we're being pushed to listen a little harder to you've all received a promise. Kate's received a promise. I've received it. We've all received a promise that the Holy Spirit is there and moving and working. And we've heard the good news about Jesus. So where are we being called to listen to? Where we're being nudged to maybe share some good news, or serve others, or maybe things that we haven't even imagined yet, that the Holy Spirit is being poured out and is inviting us, or calling us, or gathering us, and even making our work holy, to love and to serve. Sounds kind of like a neighborhood that I'd like to be part of.
And me too.
So, keep listening, neighbor. Keep loving, keep serving. We'll see you later.